Every government on Earth claims they're fighting inflation. Press conferences, emergency rate hikes, stern faces promising to protect your savings. But here's what they don't tell you. They need it, not want it, need it. And the numbers prove they've been lying the entire time. Let's start with something simple. Imagine you're a country. You owe $30 trillion. That's the US right now. Japan owes over $10 trillion. The UK, France, Italy, everyone's drowning in debt that will never actually get paid back. So, what do? You could raise taxes, political suicide. You could cut spending, also political suicide. Or, and this is the elegant part, you could just make the debt worth less. That's inflation. Here's how it works. Let's say in 2020, you borrowed $1 trillion. In 2020 money, that's heavy. But if you let inflation run at 4% a year for a decade, that same trillion is now worth about 30% less in real terms. You still owe $1 trillion on paper, but in actual purchasing power, you owe $700 billion. You didn't pay anything back. The debt just got cheaper. And who paid for that? Everyone holding cash. Everyone on a salary that didn't keep up. Everyone who believed the government when they said inflation was temporary. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's monetary policy 101. It's just never explained this clearly. Now here's where it gets darker. Governments don't just benefit from accidental inflation. They engineer it. The Federal Reserve, the ECB, the Bank of Japan, they all have the same playbook. Print money, buy bonds, flood the system. Call it quantitative easing so it sounds technical and boring. Between 2008 and 2022, central banks printed over $25 trillion. That's not stimulus. That's not helping the economy. That's inflating away debt while telling you they're worried about prices at the grocery store. And they got away with it because inflation stayed low for years, until it didn't. 2021 hits, prices explode. Suddenly inflation is 7%, then 9%, and now they have a problem. Because if inflation runs too hot for too long, people notice. They get angry. They vote differently. They start asking why their rent doubled while their paycheck didn't. So central banks panic. Rate hikes. Inflation is now the enemy. We're so committed to stopping it. Except they're not. Look at the actual targets. The Fed aims for 2% inflation. The ECB, same. Bank of England, same. 2%. Every single year, forever. That means every 35 years, your money loses half its value. $1 in 1990 is worth 50 cents today. $1 today will be worth 50 cents in 2059. And they call that price stability. Because here's the trick. 2% inflation feels like nothing. You don't notice it month to month, but compounded over decades, and it's the most efficient wealth transfer in human history, from savers to debtors, from citizens to governments. And it's completely legal, completely normalized, completely sold to you as responsible economic management. The irony? When inflation spiked in 2022, governments acted shocked, like this was some unforeseen disaster. But they'd been printing money for 14 years. They knew exactly what they were doing. They just didn't expect you to notice this fast. So now we're in this weird middle ground. Inflation is bad enough that people are furious, but not bad enough that governments actually want to kill it. Because killing inflation means raising rates so high that the economy collapses, and more importantly, it means their debt gets expensive again. So they'll do just enough rate hikes to look serious, just enough to cool things down, but not enough to actually win, because winning means losing. The question isn't whether governments will stop inflation, it's whether they'll stop pretending they want to.